Once. Hey guys, Alyssa Papatina here. Happy Easter. Today I'm reading the story of the Easter about Jesus and stuff. Just Jesus, cause when I was a kid, my first time in my school, me and my friends were doing the Christmas story, and as a teenage age, me and my friends were doing the Easter story. Nothing. If you saw right here in Britain, if you saw the picture of me, holding the cross, I play as Biff. If you don't know who she is, then maybe the one of your kids might know or not. Anyway, let's get on to it. That about 1,960 years ago, Jesus and his friends and followers were in Jerusalem preparing for the special Passover celebrations. At the same time, the chief priest and the other Jewish officials were meeting at the house at Caiaphas. I'm not joking, it's just a Caiaphas. Comment down below about what it means. I have no idea. The high priest to discuss ways of capturing Jesus quietly and killing him. They wanted to kill Jesus because they hated how popular he was with the people and thought he might take some of their power away. And also, more importantly, they do not believe Jesus' claim that he was the Son of God. Everyone knows who he is when he was a baby. We still have the collections of baby Jesus' staples and stuff. My head is nearly just broke my joints. If it breaks, then I might get a new one. But we can't do it during the Passover celebrations, they agreed, because the people might riot. Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' 12 disciples, went to the chief priest and asked, "How much will you pay if I betray Jesus to you?" They gave him 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for a chance to betray Jesus to them. On the first day of the Passover ceremonies, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where are we going to eat our Passover meal?" Jesus replied, "Go into the city and find a man carrying a water jar and tell him, 'Our master says my time has come and I will eat the Passover meal with my disciples at your house.'" So the disciples, I could barely remember it, did, and he told them and prepared the meal there. Okay, so I wish I could zoom in. Okay. In this picture, as you can see, here's Jesus and one of his friends, or disciples. I think disciples means friends. I don't know. That evening, as Jesus sat the Passover meal with his disciples, I think it might be friends, I don't know. I think I should Google it before I finish this, I don't know. He broke the bread, blessed it, and said, sorry, just hiccup to burp. "Take this and eat it, for this is my body which I am giving for you." He then took the cup of wine and gave thanks and said, "Drink this, all of you. This is my blood, which is poured out for you." And then he said, "One of you will betray me." The disciples asked each other who would do that, but Judas knew he was talking about him and slipped out as soon as he could. It looks like Judas okay, that guy is weirdo. But Jesus is not weirdo. You remember, right? Jesus is not weirdo. You're cool. Yes, I did in front of my camera. Okay. Jesus and the rest of the disciples finished the meal, and when they sang a hymn, they went out to a local beauty spot, the Mount of Olives, and Jesus said to them, "This very night all of you will run away and leave me." Peter, one of Jesus' best friends, said to him, "Even if everyone else leaves you, I will never will. Even if I have to die with you, I will never let you down. I tell you the truth." Jesus answered, "Tonight before the roosters crows, you will say 3 times that you don't know me." Then Jesus took his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. It's like Gethsemane. I think it might be all by now, changed the name right now or something like that. I have no idea. And said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray. Pray for strength against temptations." He went a little way from them, knelt down and started praying. "God, my Father, if it is possible, please take this burden from me. But do what you want, not what I want." Jesus stayed there and prayed for about an hour. Okay, here's Jesus again. And I think that's his pal. Right next to him right next to the tree. When he returned to the disciples, he found them asleep and asked them, "Why are you sleeping? Could you stay awake for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall from temptation. For your spirit is willing, but your body is weak." Then he went away for a second time to pray. "My Father, if it is not possible to take this painful thing away from me, and if I must do it, I pray that what you want will happen." Jesus went back to his followers and found that they had fallen asleep again. So he went and prayed a 3rd time. When he came back the last time, they were still asleep, so he told them, "Wake up! It is nearly time for the Son of Man to be betrayed by sinners. Here comes my betrayer." Okay. It kind of reminds me of Margaret White thinks her daughter betrayed her. That makes sense, right? Sorry about the lag, because I have no idea what's wrong with my laptop. After he left the meal, Judas had gone to the highest priest and made arrangements with them and the soldiers about how they would know Jesus. "The one who I kiss is the one to arrest," he said. When they arrived where Jesus and his disciples were, Judas went up to Jesus and kissed him and said, "Greetings, teacher." And with that, the soldiers arrested Jesus. Jesus was taken to the court to... It's the same thing again, like Caiaphas, the highest priest, the teacher of the law, and the Jewish elders. Peter followed at a distance into the courtyard. He sat there with the guard to see what will happen. The priests and the Sanhedrin, the name of the Jewish parliament, I never heard of that. Barely. In school. But lots of witnesses who told lies about Jesus, but nothing could be proved, and Jesus would not say anything to defend himself. Finally, the highest priest said to him, "I asked you under oath, are you the Son of God?" Jesus replied, "You said that I am." Then the highest priest said, "He has spoken against God. Do we need any more witnesses?" The other priest replied, "He should die for what he had said." Okay? It kind of reminds me of my player at the Easter. Meanwhile, in the courtyard, a servant girl came up to Peter and said, "You are with Jesus of Galilee?" I think it says Galilee. I have no idea. I think that's where Mary and Jesus were. Peter said, I don't know what you're talking about." Then he went out to the gateway where another girl saw him and told the people around her, "This man was with Jesus at Galilee. If I say it right, comment down below, please. Galilee. Oh my God. Peter said, "I swear I don't know him." After a while, the people standing around the gate came up to Peter and said, "Surely you were with him. Your accent gives you away." People from Galilee had a different accent to people in Jerusalem. Now Peter became angry and said, "I don't know the man." Immediately a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had told him. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times." He went outside and cried. He had denied knowing Jesus because he was scared that he might be arrested. To sentence someone to death, the Jewish leader had to have the Roman governor's permission. So even thought it was now getting towards dawn, and against Jewish law, they took Jesus before the Roman governor Pilate, who asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied, "Those are your words." The priests and chief elders then began accusing him still. Jesus did nothing to defend him, much to the amazement of Pilate. The governor said, "Don't you hear how they're accusing you?" But still, Jesus didn't say anything. Pilate didn't know what to do with Jesus, because he didn't think he had done anything wrong. He sent him to the Jewish king Herod. Herod was pleased that Jesus had been arrested and questioned him, but again Jesus said nothing. But so Herod made fun of him, and Herod's soldiers beat Jesus up. Then Herod sent Jesus back to Pilate, as he didn't know what to do with Jesus either. As the customs at the time passed over of the Roman governor to release one Jewish prisoner chosen by the ordinary people at that time, they had a notorious prisoners called Barabbas. Yeah, I think that's the word, Barabbas. When Pilate asked the crowd whom they wanted released, the priests stirred up the crowd, so they called the Barabbas. Pilate asked them, "What do you want me to do with Jesus, who is called the King of Jews?" They answered back, "Let by the priests, crucify him. Pilate asked them, "Why? What crime has he committed?" But they shouted even louder, "Crucify him, crucify him." I think that's there? I have no idea. When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, he took some water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. This is where we get the phrase, washing our hands of something, when we want to show that we don't want the blame if something goes wrong. Then Pilate released Barabbas. Jesus was flogged and handed him over to be crucified. Oh! Crucifix, of course. It's like a Jesus' cross and stuff. But, kind of. Okay, here it is. Hold on, is he like... I was thinking maybe he's... Yeah. Okay, I don't like when everyone laughs at him. I feel bad. Yeah. There's like need water on me, so finish reading this. The governor's soldiers took Jesus into the governor's palace and gathered him around. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, and then twisted together a crown of thorns and rammed it on his head. Ouch. They put a staff in his right hand and kneeled in front of him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had beaten him up, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him Then they laid him away to crucify him. As the soldiers laid him away, they grabbed a man named Simon, who was from Cyrene and on his way in from the country, for the watching crowd, and made him carry the cross because Jesus had been beaten so badly he was too weak to do so. So when they came to the place where they're executed people called Golgotha, or the place of the skull, I didn't know that. Golgotha, what? Where was it supposed to be? It's probably connected to Jerusalem or something, I don't know. They offered Jesus cheap wine to drink to help stop the pain, but after he tasted it, he refused to drink it. When they had nailed Jesus up onto the cross, the Jewish rulers among the crowd sneered at Jesus, saying, "If you are so wonderful and the King of Jews, save yourself." And inscriptions in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew was written on a bit of wood and put over Jesus' head on the cross. It read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Jesus prayed to God, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." Okay, so here's Jesus with him on the cross, and sorry about that, it's just Kibben. I keep playing about if you don't know that there are Kibben's the dog and Frankie's cat. Wait, what was that? Oh yeah, and there's a cross on his sides, like the right to left, and soldiers. The two thieves were being crucified at the same time as Jesus, one on the right and one on the left. One of the criminals who hung next to Jesus insulted him, "Aren't you the Christ? Why don't you save yourself and us too?" But the other thief disagreed with him and said, "Aren't you afraid of God since you are under the same sentences? We are being punished because we did wrong things. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom?" Jesus told him, "I tell you the truth, today you will be with me in heaven." This happened about 12 noon, and from then until 3 p.m. It was dark because the sun did not shine. 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, my God, why have you left me?" Then Jesus cried out in a loud voice again, "It is finished," and he died. A woman, Suratran, was standing in front of Jesus and heard his cry and saw how he died. He said, "Surely this man was the Son of God," because the next day was the Sabbath, Saturday, the Jewish holiday. Okay. The Jews didn't want the body left on the crosses. Later, an appointed Jewish council member called Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for Jesus' body. Pilate gave his permission for Joseph to remove his body. He and Nicodemus, another council member, took Jesus' body and wrapped it in the straps of cloth, which was the Jewish burial customs, near the place where Jesus was crucified. There was a garden that Joseph owned, and in the garden was a tomb that no one else had ever used. So they buried Jesus in the tomb. The women passed their best guards on the tomb. At the tomb, the Jewish leader has a massive stone rolled in front of it to stop Jesus' followers stealing the body and say that he had come back to life. Early on Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene, that's a nice name, one of Jesus' followers, and some other women went into the tomb to put spices into the body to stop it smelling. Okay. When they got to the tube, they discovered that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. They wondered what had happened. Suddenly 2 men, dressed in white robes that glowed, appeared in the tube. The women were very frightened, but the man said, "He is not here. He has risen just as he said." Then the woman remembered what Jesus had said. Okay, so here's the tube where Jesus died, but where he buried. Very silly. The woman left the tube and told the other disciples about what had happened. The others did not believe the woman because it sounded like rubbish. But Peter and John got up and went to the tube and found it empty, with only a strip of cloth lying in it. When they saw the empty grave, they believed that Jesus had risen. That the disciples went home. Jesus stayed at the tube and was very sad and crying. She turned away from the tube and saw Jesus there, but she didn't know it was Jesus. "Why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" Jesus asked her. She thought it was the gardener who so said to him, "If you took Jesus' body away, please tell me where he is so I can go and see him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned to look at the man properly and saw that it was Jesus. She said to him, "Rabboni." This means Jesus, teacher in Hebrew. Oh, okay. She went to hug Jesus. No fear, they accidentally pulled when instead of went. So, here we go. But he said, "Don't hold on to me, because I have not gone back to heaven yet. But go and tell my disciples that I am going back to heaven." So Mary went back and told the disciples all about what had happened and that she had seen Jesus alive. Later on the same day, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking from Jerusalem to a town called Emmaus, about 11 kilometers or 7 miles. This is different, isn't it? Hold on, let me look first before seeing what's going on. Oh, it's a full story of it. Okay. They were talking about what had happened over the last few days. They were joined by a stranger on the road and started walking with him. It was Jesus, but they didn't recognize him. Jesus asked them, "What are you talking about?" They told Jesus all that had happened and about the woman going to the tube, the angels telling them that Jesus was alive, and the other disciples finding the tube empty. Jesus then explained to them about what the Jewish prophets had said about Jesus coming back to life, although they still didn't recognize him. When they had finished talking, they were near Emmaus. It was getting late, so the 2 men asked Jesus to stay the night with them. Okay, so here they are. I'm not sure that was Jesus. I think he might. Comment down below if you think I'm right. They sat down to dinner, and Jesus said grace as he broke the bread to eat. The disciples realized it was Jesus. They might have seen the holes in Jesus' hand. I don't like it when it says holes in hand. It kind of reminds me of Polaroids. Okay, never mind. Where the nails had been, they were assumed and ran all the way back to Jerusalem to tell the other disciples in Jerusalem what had happened. They found the other disciples in a locked room because they were scared of being found by the Jewish leaders. While the 2 disciples were saying what had happened, Jesus appeared in the room and said, "Peace be with you." They were scared and thought Jesus was a ghost, but Jesus said, "Look at my hands and feet. It is me." Oh, I didn't know the feet has holes as well. Oh. Yeah, that's mine. "Touch my hands where the nails went in. A ghost doesn't have a body." It's true, they don't have a body, but maybe I thought that wasn't real. Ghosts do have a body, but my mom said they don't have a body because they never found a body. He showed them his pierced hands where the nails had gone in, and they believed it was him, alive. Jesus ate some fish with them and explained why he had died and that he would soon go back to heaven. He also explained that he would send Helper, the Holy Spirit, to live in and help all of Jesus' followers. He told them not to leave Jerusalem until the Helper had come. He also told them to go and tell other people about him, and that he loves everyone so much he died for them. But there was one disciple who wasn't there when Jesus first appeared. His name was Thomas, and he doubted that Jesus really was alive. He said that unless he saw the holes in Jesus' hand, he wouldn't believe that he was raised from the dead. The next week, the disciples were in the room again. This time, Thomas was with them. Even though the room was locked, Jesus still appeared to them. He showed Thomas his hands. Jesus touched him and said, "My Lord and my God," and believed that Jesus was alive. 40 days after Jesus rose from the dead, he got his followers together and took them out to Bethany. I got a feeling my mom got the name from Easter Story to my sister's name. Oh my god, if my sister's watching this show. Sorry, I know I'm not laughing during Easter, but Easter, my sister's name was Bethany. Just like the story says Bethany. See? Okay. He prayed for them, and while he was doing so, he was carried back up to heaven. A shining cloud covered Jesus, but suddenly 2 men dressed in white, shining clothes stood next to Jesus and said, "Why are you looking into the sky? Jesus, who you saw going into heaven, will return the same way." Okay, so here's the image, and here goes Jesus flying up to heaven. The disciples went back to Jerusalem as Jesus told them to do. A while later, the disciples were in a house waiting to celebrate Pentecost, the Jewish harvest festival. Suddenly, there was a sound like a strong blowing wind in the house. They saw things like flames of fire that came and rested on each of the disciples. They were filled with Holy Spirit, the Helper, just as Jesus had promised. Okay, here they are again with the fire on top of their heads. Whose idea put the fires on top of their heads? That's really nice. Kind of reminds me of WandaVision when Wanda put what's it? Telepathy, that's the word, to make sure they are acting, but apparently they're not. I was like, are they gonna do this? I thought Wanda was dreaming, but apparently she's using vision. As vision. I don't want to say that. They went outside to tell people about Jesus and found that people from lots of different countries could understand what they were saying. People from different countries were staying in Jerusalem then for the Pentecost festival. The people didn't understand this was possible. Some people thought they were all drunk. But Peter said, "How can we be drunk? It's 9 o'clock in the morning." I know that word. How can we be drunk? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I think I've heard of one of this before. The disciples found out by the power of Holy Spirit they could speak lots of different languages. They told all the people about Jesus and what he did for everyone. Over 3,000 people became Christians that day. People have been telling others about Jesus all over the world ever since. So yeah, that's the end of the I like that story really much. Okay, I'll be right back. My throat, it's kind of dry, so be right back. Be right back. I'm back. Man, we're in 23 minutes. Oh, that's just stripper. So I think that's the story of Jesus' death, story of Easter. No, I thought I should go the Easter story, Jesus' death. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, I think I like it, but if my sister's watching this, don't be mad, Beth. Don't be mad. If you are, comment down below, please. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Comment down below about do you want me to read Christmas's story of Jesus' birth on Christmas Day, if I have the right time for that. On Christmas Day. I don't know. Let me know. And press the subscribe button and hit the bell notification on if you enjoy this video. Sorry. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.